good morning. Thank you for joining us today for this 9th meeting of the Board of Lake County Commissioners. Yes, sir. Mr. Massey, if you please come to the microphone. I think this might be the first time you've been in this new building.
Yes, it is. Nice digs, I would say.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
So is this what 40 million buys us? Is that correct?
No, significantly less than. I think we're under 30, actually.
Very good.
And that was the out-the-door price. How am I doing on that? Is that pretty close there, Jason? I'm getting a positive nod there from our administrator.
Okay, great. Before I start, first I should introduce myself. My name is Brian Massey. I live at 8196 Rainbow Drive, Concord Township. Been a long time Lake County resident. Before I start, I'd like to say to Commissioner Young, I want him to know that we are praying for his speedy and complete recovery from his illness.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome. We have an online newspaper. It's called LobbyistForCitizens.com. And our mission is to uphold the truth, transparency, and integrity at all levels of government. We expose the lies, deceptions, and betrayals regardless of political party. We're a huge proponent of Ohio's Open Meeting Act and Public Records Law. Holding elected officials and bureaucrats accountable is vital to our constitutional republic. I'm here today to discuss the Lake County Visitors Bureau. I've been following and researching the antics of the Visitors Bureau for several years. I must first give you and the watching public a little history. I was originally asked by the former director of the Visitors Bureau, Scott Dacus, to help him expose the inappropriate conduct of the Visitors Bureau and the Lake County Port Authority and the Lake County Commissioners. That meeting has led me to spend tremendous amount of time and effort learning all about Lake County government and the Visitors Bureau. Several years ago, the then Commissioner, Jerry Serino, expressed that he believed that there should be more accountability and transparency in the Visitors Bureau. He had the number of board members reduced from 7 to 5, appointed as political consultant Amy Sabbath to the board of directors, with 3 of the 5 board members being appointed by the commissioners, thereby giving the commissioners indirect control. She was then subsequently, Ms. Sabbath was subsequently elected as the board president. LFC filed a records request with Ms. Sabbath and was told in no uncertain terms that they are a private body not subject to the Ohio meeting laws and public records laws. Mr. Dacus told me about a budget meeting between the Visitors Bureau and the Lake County Commissioners. I tried to attend that meeting, but Commissioner Serino kicked me out of the meeting because, quote, nothing was going to be discussed in the meeting. So I say to you, so much for openness and transparency. The Visitors Bureau is registered with the IRS as a 501c6 nonprofit, a private body. A requirement of their nonprofit status is that they must receive support from dues-paying members. Through the legal process known as discovery, we learned that they do not have dues-paying members, and the overwhelming majority of their revenue comes from the taxpayers through the hotel bed tax. In an attempt to get current information on the Visitors Bureau, we tried to determine if they currently now have dues-paying members and what are the revenue and expenditures of the Visitors Bureau. We sent a records request to Jason Boyd, the county administrator, and he sent us a schedule of the hotel tax receipts and disbursements maintained by the county finance or budget director. From those records, we saw that over $1 million was distributed annually from the hotel tax. I was informed that the county does not have any financial information about the total revenues and expenditures of the Visitors Bureau. We then came to the obvious conclusion that they are a private body receiving significant funding from the taxpayers, and they are accountable to no one. The lack of accountability was reinforced by the Visitors Bureau lawyer, Mr. Jeff Ruppel, at the board meeting in February when he mentioned that the Visitors Bureau has created new bylaws and declared that the Visitors Bureau is a self-governing body. Ruppel suggested that the commissioners change the wording in the resolution that appointed 3 board members to merely recommendations. that the board will consider their recommendations but are not bound by them. He left no doubt that the commissioners merely pass through the taxpayer money to the Visitors Bureau, and then as a self-governing body, the Visitors Bureau can do as they please with the money. Commissioners, that attitude and conduct of the Visitors Bureau is not acceptable to the citizens of Lake County. There is no way that the citizens will permit a private body to flaunt the IRS laws, takes taxpayers' funds, and then tell the commissioners and the citizens that the Visitors Bureau will never be accountable to anyone. As we see it, the commissioners have three options. They can allow the Visitors Bureau to continue not being accountable to you and the taxpayers. You can stop all funding to the Visitors Bureau and let them survive on their membership dues and other membership support as mandated by the IRS regulations. You can create another Visitors Bureau that is under the direction of the commissioners and subject to the Ohio Sunshine Laws. Trying to work with the current structure in order to provide transparency may work in the short term. However, we can see that the Visitors Bureau is a rather fluid operation that changes the number of board members quite frequently. We have been informed that they are contemplating changing the number of board members from 7 to 9. Unless the commissioners address the foundational problem of the Visitors Bureau, namely their private versus public body status, we run the risk of incremental changes over the years of them reverting back to their arrogant attitude of not being accountable to the people. Thank you for your time and patience.
Thank you, sir. Well, you raised a number of thoughts and issues that I think fall into the purview of legal. Mr. Hackman, is there anything you wanted to comment on or add to, sir?
Well, I guess I would like to start out with this, Mr. Massey. I absolutely respect your right to bring these attentions to the public. Quite frankly, I commend you for them. And I'd say that having been the object of some of your critiques in the past, which is fine. You referenced Commissioner Serino. I don't recall the exact words, but my take of it was that he was controlling the Visitors Bureau. As you know, as you alluded to, it's a private, nonprofit corporation. This Board of Commissioners has no control over the Visitors Bureau. It's a private corporation. As you bring out in your statement, they have their own attorney, Mr. Ruppel. You referenced the meeting that took place where you were not allowed, or you were asked to leave that meeting, and that is in litigation. So I hope you can appreciate. I'm not going to comment on that. That's currently pending in the 11th District Court of Appeals, the trial court, having dismissed your case there. It's now in the 11th Circuit District. Let's wait and see that. As far as the options for the Visitors Bureau, first of all, with respect to withholding money from the bed tax collected, this Board of Commissioners is not allowed to. And I don't have the statute in front of me, but it basically says if there is a 3% bed tax in place, money collected for that shall be given to the Visitors Bureau operating, Visitors and Conventions Bureau, I think it is, operating within the county, and the emphasis on the word shall. I do agree 100% with your feeling and contention that there should be transparency as to how that money's spent. I can't speak to it from the Visitors Bureau's perspective. Are there options with regard to what could happen down the road? I believe you are, I know you're correct. It could be a county department. There could be another nonprofit Visitors Bureau formed. That would be, again, under Title 17, over which this board would not have control other than, I agree, that money should, how are we spending that money and where is it being spent? And I'm not privy to all the discussions that go on with the members of the Visitors Bureau. However, I agree with you. That should be something that should be out there in the light. If it's $1 million a year, like you say, Mr. Boyd indicated in the public records response, it's a lot of money. If it was $1 a year, it should be accounted for.
Yeah, I don't find us in disagreement very much here.
So I guess all I can say is, again, Commissioner Sereno, then Commissioner Sereno, this present board of Lake County Commissioners cannot dictate to a private corporation, which this Visitors Bureau is, how to amend their bylaws, what to put in them. There's no control over that.
If I may, Mr. Hackman, that is the basic foundational problem. That's the basic foundational problem that I'm talking about. You cannot just give taxpayer money to a private body without any accountability. It makes no sense. It just makes no sense at all.
That's what the law provides, but there should be accountability from the Visitors Bureau as to how that money is spent. I think we're on the same page.
Okay, we agree.
Again, I appreciate your First Amendment rights to speak on these issues, but I have to emphasize for this Board of Lake County Commissioners and any former Lake County Commissioners, they do not have control over a private entity's board. And the statute, and again, I think it's under Title 53, it specifically speaks to the bed tax money coming in and it shall be given to the Visitors Bureau, Visitors and Convention Bureau, operating within the county.
As they say in the legal profession, I rest my case. Thank you.
Gentlemen, speaking for myself, I want to thank both of you for your candor and the decorum that you both just demonstrated. That is truly appreciated on a sensitive discussion such as this. So thank you both for all that you do. Okay, moving on. Do we have anyone else in the audience wishing to address the board? You go right ahead. Come on up, sir.
Listening to Mr. Boyd reminded me that I wanted to tell the commissioners and the public that we're big supporters of Ron Graham and the Lake County Health Department. We met with Mr. Graham with the idea. We said, how can we, as lobbyists for citizens, how can we help you so that you can help us? And we are providing a platform for Mr. Graham that he will be sending us public service announcements, so we will post that so that everyone can know. It's just another approach of what we think we can do to help the community. I wanted to say that Mr. Graham wanted us to tell everyone that if there is a business in Lake County that has received a citation for stopping, they have never issued any citation to any business in Lake County. If anyone receives a citation, it's either from the state, workers' comp, or some other organization. It also is very important that our business owners realize or recognize that if someone comes into their establishment, they have the right to ask for identification, and if identification seems to be suspect, to ask for a phone number so that that establishment can call to verify who the person is that's coming into the establishment. Again, I would like to publicly thank Ron Graham for working with the Liberty Camp. It was Geauga, but they have moved into Lake County. And Mr. Graham was instrumental in working with the Metro Parks to allow that organization to offer these services to the children this year. So again, kudos to Ron Graham. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And for those who may not be familiar with your organization, Lobbyists for Citizens, I believe you would be considered a recognized media source on a local level. So I thank you for your diligence and your efforts, and thank you for your kind words to our Lake County General Health District. Okay, if there's, let's see.